5 hours in that trade. 5 hours. Okay. All right. So everything's set up. All right. So let's get started. Let's start with the NQ. Get the charts all set up. You know, tomorrow is going to be a big day for the market. We are definitely going to get an expansion from this range. It will either be, well, we'll talk about that. Let's actually go over the news first, and we'll talk about what we should expect going into tomorrow's price action. So let's go over the news, and we'll go from there. Okay. So we definitely have a big block of news, but majority of the news is this 7:30 block. Um, and so let's actually go over that now. So at 7:30, we do have PCE, and we also have personal income and personal spending, which is basically a part of PCE at 7:30. So what's up, Jen? So this is definitely going to be the market moving event that's going to happen at 7:30 tomorrow. The market has been waiting on the release of this event, and that's why we've been trading in a range. So at 9 o'clock, we have the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index and the 5-year consumer inflation expectation for the month of June. These reports itself, I don't believe are important, but because it's coming out at that 9 o'clock algo time, obviously the market is going to move based off just that algo alone. So just be mindful of that 9 o'clock hour. We do have a Fed speaker at 11:45. I thought we had another Fed speaker. I could have sworn there was another one, unless he was taken off of it, because I remember there was supposed to be a Fed speaker at 11 and another Fed speaker at 11:40, but I must have took him off the schedule. Let's see if he'll reappear tomorrow. But yeah, so I guess we'll go with it for right now. And we have some crude news at 12 o'clock, and we have some CFTC data at 2:30. So that's the news. Now let's jump into these charts. Okay. So yesterday we did talk about this move down. What I was expecting yesterday was a full rotation underneath this range in preparation for tomorrow's data, but it's apparent that this is as far as the bears was going to get underneath this range. I assumed that they was going to go further, possibly cracking that 500 level, possibly getting to 490 on the ES. We didn't get that. What we got was basically a triple bottom here at this level. I was actually surprised at this, actually. This was, I mean, I guess you can consider this a quadruple bottom, or really a head and shoulders pattern if you really look at it. So this tells me that we're definitely going to get a bullish move going into tomorrow's price action, because you can see it. You can see the left shoulder right here, the right shoulder, and this is the head. And we can definitely see a breakout to the upside going into tomorrow. So that's what I'm going to be looking for on the ES. What I'm ultimately going to be looking for is, we talked about this during today's stream. We've got bears, I guess by design, successfully defending this area, and we can count it out. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess you can count this 5, 6, 7, 8, about 8.5, 9. 8. I mean, I guess you can count that. So when I see that when there's one area where one side of the market is holding off, the only thing that I see above that is the amount of stops that's being stacked above this high. That's all I see. And it's about 9 times that the bears defended this area. So if we do get a bullish move higher, which is highly likely, all inflationary data has been bullish. When we say that we will be using all of these buy stops above these highs as fuel to push this market higher, I would not be surprised if we see 5,600 going into tomorrow, at least 5,590, at least 5,590, most likely 5,600 on the ES. With all these buy stops right here, this will definitely be this liquidity would definitely be used to push this market up higher. You can see that during today's session, the bears couldn't even rotate price underneath this range. The bulls held up this 30 level not only once, but twice. And from the second time, we had a short squeeze higher as the bears were used as fuel to push the market right back into this area of previous resistance. Overnight, I do expect for the market to trade into this 558 to 560 range. And from here, I do expect a small pullback. I do expect that. There is an area here of resistance that hasn't been tested. And if you look at the charts, you can see it right here. You can see that this high right here has not been retested. And from this high at 558, we got this massive 40-point move down that hasn't been retested yet. So I don't think that we'll get a reversal from this area, but I do expect for the bears to come in and probably get like a 15 to 20-point drop down. However, usually on news days, we do get chopped until the actual news release. So one or two of those situations can happen overnight. Or, I mean, I guess to completely throw the market off, the market could break this high and starts to grind up higher and start to grind. We could see that, which is highly unlikely, but we have to think of all possibilities and what to look out for going in before the news release and then afterwards. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend putting on real size tomorrow or overnight. I mean, I believe that's obvious. You'll be by yourself with a heavy position because I'm pretty sure that the volume is definitely going to be low. And if I can possibly show you that, yeah, right here. Let me move this over here. Okay. So yeah. So you can see that the market is obviously going to be low volume, is low volume now. And I highly doubt that any real volume is going to get into the market until after we get that release at 7:30. So sit on your hands, step away from the charts, use tonight as, I guess, a mental break for tomorrow because we already know tomorrow's going to be crazy. So just take a break. I feel that it's not going to cause a lot of volatility. I don't believe that it will, unless Biden says something completely stupid that would insinuate that the world is going into a third world war. If he's not saying anything to that nature, I don't think that it's going to be volatile to where we see like a 50 to 100 point drop overnight. I highly doubt that we see that unless he says something stupid. Or yeah, I'll keep it at that. Unless he says something stupid. But I mean, we're gonna get our basic back and forth. I don't think it's gonna be anything that we haven't seen before. I don't believe so, because obviously Trump is no longer president. So even if he says something crazy, the market shouldn't even be reacting to whatever craziness that Trump would say because he's no longer the president. So I think a lot of people are concerned about the presidential debates, but in my opinion, I feel like we won't see anything too out of the ordinary tonight. Like I said, I think the most we'll get is price probably trading into this range, and we might see a dump from that range. I think that's the most we get tonight. But I guess the same can be said for I guess let's look at the hourly chart, and then we'll hop into the we'll hop into a Nasdaq chart. I mean, we can see that the market is bullish. Look at we got 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 hourly candles here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We got 14 green hourly candles to the upside, and we only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red candles going to the downside. That should tell you something. If you don't think that this market is super bullish and it's hard out here to be a bear, all you have to do is look at this hourly chart and it will tell you the story that you need to be told. Now, we did use the hourly chart today on stream. I know a lot of people got caught long. Obviously, I was short today, and I was mostly short because of what the hourly chart was telling me. The hourly charts were telling me that the bears was selling this market down, and that at least in these 2 hours, that the bears were in control. We did call out that 533 level. I think price got to about 530 with that call out, and then price came back down to 528 until we saw this massive move up. That's why the hourly chart is such a great tool intraday, because I know a lot of people got caught long, but if they looked at the hourly chart, they would have known that the bears were in control. So just keep that in mind. But I think that's all I have for the ES. We're going to have to get more data on it tomorrow after the news release. And once the news is released, then we'll have a better idea of how to properly trade going into tomorrow. That's interesting. Yeah, we'll have a better idea of how to trade going into tomorrow after the news is released and we start tomorrow's stream. Okay, so all right, so let's look at the Nasdaq. So yeah, we did talk about in last night's NA meeting, we did talk about price potentially getting up to this 115 to 125 level, and that's where we'll possibly see a rejection. We saw a rejection at 116, so I am proud of that call out. Honestly, what I should be doing is actually documenting all the call outs in the NA meetings, honestly. But price got up to 116, and we saw this massive move down. And from this range, we saw the bulls trade right back into this area. And just like the ES, well, actually, let's actually go on a higher time frame with the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq has already ran those highs above. The Nasdaq has already ran them. Yeah, because 230 was that high. So obviously the Nasdaq, or I'm sorry, the ES is lagging, obviously. But this was the highs that the bulls needed to get over. And what we talked about last night was that if they can get over this high, then we would see 115 to 125. So the bears have already lost on the Nasdaq, And once we got to that 115, we saw this massive drop back into this range. And from this range, the bulls took it back up, used resistance as support, and now it's trading right back to retest this high right here. And I think that we might ping pong between, 2060 and 116. We may get a break to that 125 level that I was talking about yesterday. And we might just see price just ping pong back and forth. But we all know where the Nasdaq is trying to go. We all know that the Nasdaq is sitting right here at this shelf, and there's not stacked stops up here, because you can see that after we got that break of structure and we got this breakdown, this is really our first time really coming back up into this level. So it's not as stacked as it was above that 2030 level that the bears were holding off on the Nasdaq. This is their first time coming back to this level. So I don't think we will see a move up, but I think it's going to be more violent on the ES versus the Nasdaq. I mean, the Nasdaq already moves crazy anyway, but I think it's going to be more violent on the ES because we still haven't gotten that run above the highs like the Nasdaq did. So where do I think the market can go at tomorrow? We'll definitely run past this 200 level. We may see a rejection at 200, but we're definitely trading past it. I can see us going to 270 to create that right shoulder right here. From 270 or maybe 260 to 270. Yeah, about 260 to 270. I can see a drop going back into this range right here from 260. And depending on how bad the bulls want it, and we're definitely going to have to kind of read or have a feel for the market, because the market is going to retrace. What we're going to have the feel for is, did the bulls, did they only wanted to retest these levels and then they took their profits and they're going to go home for the weekend? Or will we touch these levels, we get the retracement, and then the bulls come back in for a second bite of that same apple? That's going to be the question that we have to discover tomorrow or answer tomorrow, is will the bulls want to go for a second bite of that high? And if not, we can definitely see a clean rotation down. Clean. But we're definitely going to have to play it by ear going into tomorrow, especially if you're trading the Nasdaq, because she already moves crazy already. And you put on top of a news release on top of that, that's going to be crazier. So that's definitely what I'm going to be looking forward to. Look at the Nasdaq on the hourly chart, and just like the ES, you got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 6 red candles and a sea of green candles. So it's obvious the market is bullish, and it's obvious that we're going to get a breakout going into tomorrow on the Nasdaq as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So just be mindful of that. So kind of in summary, obviously we just have to wait and trade the reaction at 7:30. If you have an account where you're gambling, if you want to play the gamble with PCE tomorrow, I mean, why not? If this is an account that you specifically paid for to gamble that news event. However, I would not recommend trading an account that you've been putting in work into. These news events can go both ways in an instant, and you can get a bad fill. You can blow your account and basically throwing away your hard work that you put into the account. So Obviously, I would not recommend trading an account that you've worked hard to reach the objective. So it's not that serious. Um, you'll get to the profit target on your combine, on your evals, and I promise you that throughout the day you're going to get plenty of opportunities to get the same move the same move that presents itself tomorrow at 7:30. If we get a 100-point move to the upside, I'm pretty sure the bulls are going to try to retest that high if we get a pullback. And if we don't get a pullback, we're going to get a continuation. So there's no reason to gamble at news of it because we already know the price action is going to be erratic afterwards. So just keep that in mind. But okay, let's look at gold and silver or CL real quick, and then we'll end it. CL is actually in that same situation. Actually, CL is actually ready. Looks like it's about to expand. I wouldn't short this on CL. If you look at CL, if you look at the price action, obviously we got a double bottom here. We got higher lows. We got a top right here, and it does look like we're about to get a stop run going higher. And with CL, once we get a break of the highs, that's when she likes to trend up higher. She likes doing that. If once we get a break of the highs, because she's basically using the stops as fuel to move the market higher. And on top of the stops that's above these highs, I mean, you can count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So about 7 stops or 7 layers of stops here in this area. We're definitely going to get a trend higher. And on top of that, what usually happens is when somebody gets their stop ran out of a position, as a stubborn bear, I know this personally, but as the market goes up, we short it. Even though historically, shorting a trend does not work. Historically, shorting a trend does not work. I understand that our initial instinct is to short a trending market. However, shorting a trending market 9 times out of 10 won't work. And by the time it does work, your account is blown by that part because the market is just going to continue to trend up in that same direction. And even if we do get a pullback, the bulls always like to buy it right back up to retest prior structure. So it's just best to either wait for the pullback and trade with the winning side of the market, or just understand that if you try to short a trending market, you're putting your account at risk. Unless you're really good at picking the tops in a trending market. So just be mindful of that. But that's what I expect to see on CL tomorrow. Let me see if I can actually look and see where it's going to go, actually. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, so from 82.75 to about 83.56. Yeah, so let's see what actually happens in that 82.77 range. But once it gets into this area, I'm pretty sure that there's going to be bears. 82.42, 82.42. I'll be looking for prices to get up somewhere in this range from 82, forgot, to about $83 a barrel. I would expect for the bears to come in and try to short that in that area right there. right there. I'll be definitely looking at 82.75. 82.75 for sure. Let's look at gold. All right, and so this was another thing that we talked about last night, that gold did look like it was ready to bounce. We did see that bounce in gold. And just like CL, gold is at this level as well. We got a pullback back into this range. It's sold off. So we get a break above these highs. Yeah, I'll be looking for gold to trade up, to trade into 23.59 tomorrow at least. At least. We could see gold trade all the way up to 23.64. But if the bulls really want this and we get a move higher, breaking out these highs, I do expect for price to trade back into this range right here. We may see some initial rejection at this range, but I think ultimately we can at least get to this one. Let's actually just draw that out. I know that Dakota likes to short gold at when he starts his stream. I don't think gold is going to short today. I don't think it will. It doesn't look like it wants to. Yeah, because gold has definitely, it does appear that gold has found support. Here at what used to be resistance has now turned into support. So I don't think a gold short is going to work this afternoon. I'm not saying that it won't, but it doesn't look like it. I mean, if we do get a short, I mean, the most he'll probably do is retest this area right here. And I highly doubt that we get a break back down. Yeah, so I'm expecting gold to do this tomorrow. At least this. This is what I'm looking for. But from this massive move down right here, and a lot of gold traders are taking profits. This is profit taking. I'm pretty sure we can get another leg up from here. I'm pretty sure. All right, I need to make sure that I turn this actually back into. I need to turn this back into my, because this morning I made the mistake of actually turning this from the sim to that. It kind of pissed me off, but whatever. But all right, guys, that's all I have. We went over everything. Tomorrow, I think everything is going to be bullish tomorrow. Gold, CL, the Nasdaq, and the E-mini S&P. The bears have been eating. The bears have been eating, but I think if they didn't store for the winter, they're about to go into hibernation because this market is about to get super bullish. This market is about to get super bullish. Actually, the ES just did something. I do want to see what happens if price gets to that 58 to about 60 level. Okay. All right. I guess we're not going to wait here, but that's the level that I'm looking at. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't trade anything before 7:30, but if you want a quick scalp, just pay attention to price whenever it reaches 58 to about 60. Remember, we have low liquidity tonight, so if you're trying to scalp anything, it's going to turn into a multi-hour trade. This is not the liquidity that you want to trade with overnight. You don't want to trade this, so just be mindful of that. But all right, guys, I appreciate you joining, and we'll do this again next time. Or we'll do it again at 7:30 tomorrow morning or 8:30. Peace out.